What happens when a man spends his entire life hunting a monster, only to look in the mirror one day and see its eyes staring back? This isn't just a riddle, it's a 60-year tragedy of General Thaddeus "Thunderbolt" Ross. Today we're tracing the echo of a soldier whose obsession became so absolute his final act of war was to become the very thing he thought to destroy. Welcome back to Marvel Echoes Resonance. Today we're digging into the story of the man who represents the dark side of duty, a figure whose entire identity was forged in the fires of a single all-consuming obsession, General Thaddeus "Thunderbolt" Ross. When Ross first stormed onto the pages of The Incredible Hulk #1 back in 1962, created by, of course, the legendary Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, he was the perfect reflection of his time. Think of every tough, no-nonsense, Cold War-era general you've seen in the old movies. That was Ross. He was a man who saw the world in black and white, order and chaos, strength and weakness, us and them. As a military man in charge of the Gamma Bomb Project, his job was to control America's most devastating new weapon. And then, in a flash of green, he failed. The accidental creation of the Hulk wasn't just a national security crisis for Ross, it was a deep personal humiliation. The Hulk represented everything he couldn't control, a raw, untamable force of nature. Every time the Hulk smashed a tank, every time he shrugged off artillery, it was a living, breathing monument to Ross's greatest failure. His hunt for the Hulk was never just about protecting the country. It was about erasing his mistake. It was a crusade to restore his own shattered sense of honor. But to really understand the why behind this 60-year vendetta, you have to look past the uniform. As we learned in The Incredible Hulk issue 291, Ross came from a long line of military men. Duty and patriotism were in his blood. This rigid worldview left no room for men like the brilliant but unassuming Dr. Bruce Banner. And when his own daughter, Betty, fell in love with Banner, well, Ross saw that as a personal betrayal as well. To him, Banner was a milksop, a civilian who questioned authority, everything a man shouldn't be. When Banner became the Hulk, it confirmed all of Ross's worst prejudices. The monster wasn't just a threat to his nation anymore, it was a contamination of his bloodline that had stolen his daughter's heart. This is where professional duty curdled into a father's controlling fury. He wasn't just hunting the Hulk. He was fighting to reclaim his daughter from a man he saw as a monster, long before the gamma rays ever hit. The toxic mix of duty and rage would drive him for decades, pushing him to cross lines no soldier should ever cross. So let's fast forward, because for years that dynamic was brutal, repeating cycle. Ross hunts Hulk, Hulk smashes, Hulk gets away. But then came the World War Hulk storyline back in 2007. The Hulk returns to Earth, not as a monster, but as a king seeking justice, and he defeats everyone, including Ross, who is left utterly broken and humiliated. For the first time, the general who lived his life by the principles of strength and control was left with nothing. He was a general without a war, a hunter without his prey, and it's in that moment of absolute failure that he becomes vulnerable to the deal of the devil. That deal came from a supervillain cabal called the Intelligentsia, led by two of Hulk's brainiest foes, MODOK and the Leader. As revealed in the Fall of Hulk's crossover, they came to Ross with an offer he couldn't refuse. It wasn't just about power, it was about undoing a lifetime of failure. They offered him two things he desired, above all else: strength to finally destroy the Hulk on his own terms, and the impossible promise of resurrecting his deceased daughter, Betty. For a man consumed with grief and pride, it was a bargain he couldn't resist. He said yes. So, his time as the Red Hulk had its ups and downs until his identity was revealed, and his journey then took some very unexpected turns. His time with the Avengers, as well as leading his own Black Ops team, the Thunderbolts, felt like a new status quo, a violent form of redemption that he could finally be the weapon he always wanted to be, but on his own terms. But for a man like Thaddeus Ross, peace is never an option. The echoes of his past were far from finished with him. His Red Hulk persona was eventually taken from him, depowered by, the Hulk himself. But a man like Ross doesn't just retire. He maneuvered his way back into power, this time in the political arena. However, his obsession with control and his hatred for unaccountable heroes led him down a darker path. During the Secret Empire event, he was one of the few military figures who sided with the evil, Hydra-controlled Captain America, a move that stained his already complicated legacy. But the true, tragic, final act for Ross came during the Immortal Hulk saga. It was revealed that the gamma energy that created the Red Hulk had been left a permanent mark on his soul. After being assassinated, Ross's spirit was sent to the Below Place. This is a sort of terrifying gamma hell. There, his soul was twisted by the demonic One Below All into a true abomination, a monstrous, spectral version of himself. He was no longer a man playing being a monster. He was one, a tormented spirit forced to serve, well, a cosmic evil. His physical body was eventually recovered and repurposed, becoming a host for a new, even more terrifying Red Hulk, one controlled by General Faustian and later by the leader himself. Ross, the man, was gone. His body was just an empty vessel for the very chaos he spent his life fighting. In a final horrifying irony, Bruce Banner ultimately had to put his old nemesis down for good, destroying the empty shell of the Red Hulk to prevent it from being used as a gateway for the One Below All. So, where's the Red Hulk now? Well, in 2024, the cycle took a most shocking turn yet. In the pages of Captain America, the Red Hulk has returned, but it's not Ross. The government used advanced tech and re-engineered the Gamma formula to create a new, more controllable version. The legacy of Thunderbolt Ross is no longer just his own story. It's a blueprint, a terrifying military program that proves that the monster created has outlived the man. So I'll leave you with this question. After becoming the very thing he hated, do you think Thunderbolt Ross ever truly found redemption? Or was the Red Hulk just, the final monstrous expression of the man he always was? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for listening to this episode of Marvel Echoes Resonance. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Leaving a like and a review really help the podcast grow. For more content, including articles, infographics, and other deep dives, visit the link in the description below. If you'd like to hear about other characters in the future, make sure you leave a comment and let us know which ones you want to hear next. Till next time, true believers, make mine Marvel.